All right. Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Jeff Scott, and as part of my YouTube channel at JPS-Jeff Teaches Programming, I've been teaching some C Sharp, and I'm up to about my fifth or sixth, something like that, lecture. And in the last lecture, I went and took a simple program that I had written as a console program, that is, asking a user to enter his or her first name and last name and then saying hello followed by their complete name. And what I did, let's just run that one again just so you see it. So there, I made this. I made it into a GUI app. All right, so I can put in my name. All right, and you'll notice that when I click that, boom. One thing I forgot to do last time, I think I'm going to do, and I'll do it for the next program as well and show it to you. But what I want to have happen is when this particular program runs, let's bring it up again. And when this particular program runs, I want when you hit enter, I want the greeting to happen. When you hit escape, I want the clear to happen. How do I do that? I click on the form itself, and I go over and I find there we go. I go over and I find, what do we have? I put this into the mode so it's all in alphabetic order now. Cancel button. That's going to be if I hit the escape key. So that's going to be BTN clear. All right. And I don't remember what the other one's called, but we're going to find it right now. Not a help button. We're not going to have any help yet. Let's see. We'll find it right now. Accept button. There you go. That'll be BTN greeting. So now notice if I save this and I run it, and again, let's just put in my name. So Jeff Scott. Now if I just hit enter, here's my cursor. So it's hit enter, boom. And if I hit escape, boom. Okay, just a little bit of a shortcut, a nicety. You don't really have to use it, but that's what I put it in there for. So save all. And again, let's close this one. All right, so now we're going to do our second app. So again, I'm going to come in and start by getting rid of all this. You do need the using system and the using system.windows.forms. All right. Now, when I wrote this last time as a GUI app, that was it here. So I'm going to grab all of this, and because it's the same comment basically, and let's put it in. So let's look at it one more time. This will be my second. In fact, let's just quickly, because it reminded me of something. So this was, I didn't put that in for the first one, so shame on me. I thought I did, but let's put it in there. So that was my first GUI app. Not the first GUI app, I'm sorry, first console app. Let's grab all that. And let's bring that in here. Copy it to the clipboard. Close that. Go to the start. And there, that's my first C sharp. The other one, so this is my first C sharp GUI program. And it is a GUI program that asks the user to input their first name, etc. So file, save all. Let's go back to my console one. Oh boy. There it is. So this is my first C# console program. Okay? All right. So file, save all. Hopefully I put this to rest now. Got that one done. And I've got that one done. And this is done. All right. So this is my second console program. this is my second GUI program. Okay, and right now you can see again, oh, do I console? Must have that open twice. All right, so let's go back to this. And if you look at it right now, so this is, so I've done first C# console app and first C# GUI app and second C# console app. So this is second C# GUI app. Okay, if you remember that from before, I goofed that up. So this should say second C# app. So second C# GUI app, and this will say 0, odd, or even. And that changed it. All right, let's start, and let's start by creating the same buttons we did before. Now, you may or may not know this, and what I'm showing you, a lot of people might frown upon and say, oh, that's a bad thing to do. But I'm going to just show you that you can do this, and that is, I'm going to go back to my first GUI app. I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to highlight those 3 buttons. I'm going to copy them to the clipboard. I'm going to go over to my second one here, and I'm going to paste it in. And I have to unlock this. But notice now I've got those buttons. Now, they're not renamed. So notice it's still called, oh, it did rename it. BTN greeting, BTN clear, and BTN exit. So I've got those done. I can copy over the code as well. Notice now the code didn't copy. There's greeting. There's clear. And there's exit. But I can't copy them. So I can go back to my first one there. Again, there are probably a lot of people who would frown upon what I just showed you. But I don't really think there's anything wrong with it. All right? It's different code now, so I really don't want to copy the code for the calculate button. But I can copy my clear code, although I'm going to have to change a bunch of names. So I can do that. And again, it'll give me errors because I haven't created those yet, and that's okay. And this is what's really nice, is I copy over my exit code. Now that should not give me any errors, I don't think. All right, now there's errors here. We're going to fix those right away. But let's talk about what we need here. All right, we need to have the person enter a number. And then we need to say whether it's odd, even, or 0. That's it. Okay, so as we did before, let's start with it with a couple labels. So I'm going to start with this label. I mean a link label. I don't want to link to a website, which you can do with a link label. So there's that label. I'm going to come over again and enabled. Oh, where are you logged? Auto size, I want to set that to false. All right, this is just going to say enter a number. Okay, again, I'm going to make this a little darker. All right, and this will be the number that I enter. In fact, let's cut that down to about here, and let's add a text box. And we'll make that go all the way to here, bigger than I need, but that's okay. And let's grab this, and we'll make a copy, and that's going to say that the number is odd, even, or 0. So again, basically right now, I've got my interface done. Now notice when it copied this over, it even copied over the size. So that's 18, but let's make these 18. And bold and Arial. I like to use Arial. I don't know, I use it a lot in websites, etc. that I create. So I'm comfortable with it. Just bold and 18. There you go. Okay, so there's my interface. I'm happy with it. So I can lock it. In fact, let's do this. Let's push this all the way up to here. About there. Okay. And then let's lock the interface. Highlight all of it. Lock controls. All right, I've created this, but I haven't, before I write, I've got the code already written for clear and exit. Well, that's not exactly true, but exit is done. But let's come in here and let's change names. So right now, again, it's called FRM greeting, which was wrong. We want to call this, we'll call this FRM 0, odd, or even. FRM 0, odd, or even. A little longer than I like to typically make my names, but that's fine. So this will be LBL input number. Input a number. And we will put in there for the actual text, input a number. All right, whoops, we'll put our spaces in there. All right, coming. You can see it's already coming together. So this will be TXT input a number. It's not mandatory that you give these two the same name. To me, it just makes sense to do that. And this will be, we'll just call this LBL output message. And again, let's stop for a second while my clock rings. All right, so we've changed this to LBL output message, but we don't need any text in there. All right, a couple more things that we've done before, again, just to aesthetically making it a little more pleasing. Let's go over here and we'll make our text align center. These two will set our text align to middle center. Okay. Trying to think of if I've missed anything. If I have, I'll come back and redo it. But we want to do our Windows start position. It is start to set the center screen. That's good. So let's run the program. And right now, if we ran it, this is what it would look like. Oh, it's the old one. Now, I should show you something. And we're going to talk about debugging a program in a bit. But let me do a file save all. Let's make this my start. Change this. So we've got our second GUI app. I'm going to right mouse click on it and choose set as startup project. That's going to give me an error message. And if you remember why, you should remember why. I'm going to say no. And it says first name, last name, etc. do not exist, because they don't. So let's fix those. All right, we don't need this to be called greeting anymore. So let's change the name of this. Okay. Now this is going to be a little hinky, for lack of better words, because notice in here, BTN greeting, we have nothing in there right now, and that's actually a good thing. All right, I'm going to show you something else right now. Some of these concepts I show you might be considered to be a little bit advanced, but I, take them for what they are. So this is greeting. Now I'm going to click this lightning bolt over here. That's the events that are associated with this. I'm going to click on this, and notice it's got BTN greeting click. I'm going to remove that. It's gone. Now, what did that do? Well, it removed the greeting that was in there before. All right? We had a greeting click in there before. We don't have that in there now, and that's good. I'm going to change that. Why? Because we don't want to call this greeting. All right? I don't like that name, so I'm going to go back to here where I was. All right? And let's change this to BTN odd, even, or 0. All right, again, kind of a long name, but and we'll change this to ampersand odd even 0. See, it's too big. All right, let's change it to number status. Still too big. How about just status? Okay. Now, notice it's BTN odd, even, or 0. I had to go back and actually go over to what you saw here, which was what are called the events, and remove it. I couldn't just remove that myself by going into the code window because there's files in the background that are used in here, and those wouldn't have been changed. Okay, one more thing I'd like to do here. That is, notice it says FRM odd, even, or 0, but when I click over here on the form, what does it have? Does it have anything? No. Now, I don't know if this will work or not, but if you remember, I've got this FRM greeting load. I want to get rid of that. I'm hoping that this won't screw up the program. Okay, we'll see in just a moment. All right, so let's make this the way that it should be. So this is txt input a number dot text. Okay, and we don't have another one, so this will be LBL output message dot text, and this will be txt input a number dot focus. I think we've already finished that. The button here for exit was already done. And again, we've got our comments in here. Let's again put a little comment in here so you can see this. So I'm going to say here, this code executes when clear button clicked. So that's that one. This code executes when exit button clicked. And finally, the one we're going to have to actually add some code to. What did we call that button? We called it status. You know, again, I'm going to show you, I'm going to put all this code out there and, you know, copy it, change it any way you want. So if you don't like the word status that I used, no problem. All right. So that's BTN odd, even, or 0. I could have called it status as well, but I didn't. All right. So what do we want to do here? Well, let's cheat again. It's our own code, so we're not really cheating. But this was the first one. This was the first one, so we shouldn't need that. This was the second. Whoop. This, well, I thought we had it. We'll grab the second console app. All right, so let's see how much of this code that's here we can use. Okay. Again, we're going to get all sorts of errors putting this in because I'm mixing up a GUI program with a non-GUI program. So don't worry about it. We're going to remove a bunch of it right away. All right. So what I wanted to show you in here was we've got number str, number, and odd, even, or 0. We'll use all those. Okay. So we don't want to read this in. You know, I don't need any of that stuff. So let's see. Let's first make a check like we did before. So we're going to say here, if txt input a number dot text, if there's nothing in there. We're going to do just what we did last time. In fact, we probably could steal a lot of it from what we did last time. There's our first GUI app. I don't think we need this anymore, so let's come back in. First GUI app. There's our form. There it is. All right. So like we did before, we're going to verify that there's something in there. We're going to have to change the names. And again, you might say, well, I'm being kind of lazy. I admit that. All right. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm just copying my code from one place to another. So, all right. Again, I'm going to get a bunch of errors. Don't let that bother you. All right. Let's move these over. All right. So here we're going to say nothing inputted for input a number. We will display the error message. We'll set the focus to txt, input a number, and return. So you must enter, let's say you must enter a number. No number inputted. We will say txt input a number dot focus. So that is done. So here, verify that there was input. Okay. Now, what if they put in something non-numeric? Okay. So what we're going to try to do here is verify that the user inputted a number. It's a little different. Here we were just checking to see if there was something, period. Now we're going to check to see whether or not there's a number there. All right, so let's go back, use our old buddy, the internet here. C# is numeric. Example. Okay. Is numeric function in C#. How to determine whether a string represents a numeric value. That looks like what we want. Okay, so here, I'm going to grab this. Okay. Now, don't worry, I'll get errors, but don't worry about it. All right, so verify. So let's grab all this. Again, don't worry about this. Don't worry about any of that. That's going to give me an error now because I removed this stuff here. So let's come in here. We're going to have a thing called result, and we're going to attempt to take what we put in there and then convert it to a number. Well, what do we have a number here? Number, it's number str. So convert the string to a number. So we don't really need, I don't think, number str. I'm just going to comment that out. We might bring it back. We'll see. So number equals this. And what are we trying to parse in here? Notice we did before a parse. This is a try parse. Here it's what are we trying to parse? And that's going to be, we will need number str. Well, yeah, that's fine. Number str, we will use it. And I'm going to come in here and say, I could do it up above, but I'm not going to. So here we've got something in here. So we're going to say number str equals txt input a number dot text. We don't have to do that. This right here, instead of using number str, we could just use this. We're going to take the result and we're going to put it into number. Now that might be a little bit confusing. So let's explain what's going on here. So we're saying this result that's right here, okay? What we're saying is this is it's a Boolean, which means true or false. If this returns true, then whatever we inputted into our number string worked. There was a number, so it goes into number. If it was false, we put something non-numeric in. So we want to verify that the user inputted a number. It's fine. So let's copy this down again. We might get errors, don't worry. So we're going to say if not result, which means that it returned false. In other words, if that's the case, all right, then a non-numeric value was inputted for input a number. We'll display an error message and we'll set the focus back. All right, not only do we want to set an error message, we want to clear out the text or txt input a number value because it's non-numeric. All right, so it says you must enter a number. All right, this will say not no number inputted. This is going to say non-numeric value inputted. And not only do we want to set the focus, we want to remove whatever was in there. Believe it or not, that should now work. Now, don't worry about this stuff. All right, don't worry about any of this stuff that's in here. Let's grab all of it. Show you another little shortcut here. I'm going to grab everything that we have here that's left. All right, and I'm going to go way up to the top here in our menu, about 4 or 5 from the end. It says here, comment out the selected lines. Notice that's all commented out now. All right, so now we're not done yet, but we're getting there. So save all, let's run this. Let's make sure that this is our program that we want to run. So we want to go to second GUI app and set that as our startup project. And then let's run this. Now, if we leave nothing in there, we get no number inputted. You must input a number. I'm going to change that to nothing inputted. Okay, boom. If we put something non-numeric in there, now we get non-numeric value inputted. You must input a number. Okay, so both those work. Now, if we put in a number, nothing happens yet because we haven't put that code in. Notice if we clear works, exit works. So we're almost finished here. We've got this odd, even, or zero, so we're going to use that in just a moment. So again, what we did here was we came in and said verify there was something input. So I'm going to say here nothing inputted into text box. Display an error message and set the focus. You must input a number, let's see, for this program. And we're going to change this to nothing was inputted. All right, if we get down to here, something was inputted, so we're going to throw it into number string and attempt to convert number str into an integer. I'm just using whole numbers here. All right. If it was unsuccessful, all right, then non-numeric value was input for input a number. We display an error message. That's here. We clear out the value that was in there. That's here. And we set the focus. That's there. And then we return. So if we get down to here, everything worked. So let's see how much of this now we can come back and use. Okay. All right. I'm going to start by taking all of this right here, other than these things here. All right. In fact, let's bring those back. No, I'm leaving them the way they are. I'm going to take all this stuff that I've put in here and I'm going to uncomment it. and all I do is click the one next to the one I just used to comment. Boom. All right. And you'll notice it doesn't look like we have any errors. So here, check to see if number inputted was 0. If it was 0, we're going to say 0 is neither odd nor even, and we don't need this anymore. Otherwise, check to see if number inputted was divisible, evenly divisible by 2, i.e. an even number. Okay, just trying to clean this up a little bit here. All right. Otherwise, the number inputted was not evenly divisible by 2, i.e. an odd number. Okay? All right, finally we want to copy the value of odd, even, or 0 to the LBL output message. Okay, so all we have to do is just that. LBL output message dot text equals odd, even, or 0. We'll say .toString. We don't have to because it should be a string anyway, but that's fine. Won't hurt anything. And that's the whole program. So let's run it and take one last look at it. One more thing I forgot, and that is this is not good. This is not good. I think I put it, oh my goodness. I put everything inside of the, hopefully this is the GUI app. Well, let's see if it is. File, save all. Let's make sure I put it in the right one. I've got too much stuff open. That's part of my, or one of my many problems. So let's put in here 34. And 34 is even. 33. 33 is odd. Something non-numeric. Non-numeric value inputted. You must enter a number. Nothing in there. Nothing was inputted. You must input a number for this program. And 0. 0 is neither odd nor even. Everything appears to be working. All right, let's do one last thing. Try to and see if this works. I'm going to double click on the form. And I'm going to again say txt input a number dot select. So when the program begins running, hopefully that's where my cursor will be. And there it is, 334. Okay, let's fix these buttons like we did before. Okay, so I'm going to click on the form itself. I'm going to go over and I'm going to make sure that my accept button is set to btn odd, even, or 0, and that my cancel button, again, these are things that make it easier for the person running the program, is set to clear. All right, so file, save all. Now when I run this, I should be able to put in 456, hit enter, Number 456 is even. Hit escape. 455. That's odd. Escape. Nothing. I get that. Non-numeric. I get that. 0. I get that. So it appears as though everything is working right now. All right, so let's very quickly take one last run at this program here. Okay? All right. Again, what I tried to show you here probably didn't do that good a job. But what I tried to show you here was we grabbed the code that we had from before from our second console app. We were able to grab a lot of this code that was in here because the logic does not change whether you're writing a graphical program or a non-graphical program. All right, when we clear, what we're doing is we're clearing this, and putting the focus here. That's the clear. When we exit, it's the same stuff as before. We're putting up a dialog with a message box that says, are you sure you want to exit? The title is Exit Program. It's got a yes and a no button and an information icon. If we click the yes, we exit the program. All right. Finally, the code that we added stole, so to speak, some of the stuff we had from before. We declared 3 variables. We verified that something was input if it was empty. All right, we displayed an error message. We set the focus, and we returned. Otherwise, something was there. So, there was input. Copy the contents of txt input a number to number str. All right, then attempt to convert number str into an integer. All right, so conversion failed. So a non-numeric value was input. For input a number, display an error message. That's our message box. Clear out the value that was in there. That's this here. Set the focus back to here. That's there. Finally, okay, there was numeric input in txt input a number. Check to see if it was 0. If it was 0, we're setting this. We could have right there just said txt or lbl output message.text equal that. Otherwise, we could have set it txt output message, etc. All right. So if it's 0, we're going to put in that message. Then if it's not, we divide it by 2. If it divided evenly, we're going to say that it was even. Otherwise, we divided it by 2, and we didn't get 0 for a remainder, so it's odd. Then we copied the value of odd, even 0, which again is one of these 1, 2, 3 values. We copied it into lbl output message.text. Finally, in here, this code executes when the program starts. The program starts running. And that just said that made sure that the focus was set to that text box. That's it. Now, what I'm going to do next, just give you a quick little preview, because this is going to close and this is going to close. All right, I want to take all of these and want to close all of them. So we've got the console app, the first one we wrote, and inputted a first name and a last name. All right. And then said hello followed by first name, space, last name. Okay. We wrote it as both a console app and as a GUI app. Secondly, we let the user input a number. All right. And if that number was 0, we wrote it was 0. If it was divisible by 2 evenly, we said it was even. Otherwise, we said it was odd. We've got that as both a console and a GUI app. So what I'm going to do quickly is next we're going to go in and start writing these body mass index programs. All right, we're going to write that as both a console app, then as a GUI app, and we're going to keep refining it as we go along. And after we get done with that, we're going to write the other one, which was our payroll program. All right, so let me go to solution here, right mouse click, choose add, new project. I want this to be a console. And remember, because I don't remember, I think it was console app.net framework. Maybe it wasn't. Let's see. And we're going to call this, what were we using before? We called these, okay. First iteration BMI console. Okay, create. Good, I did the right one. Okay. And finally, I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to choose add, new project. And this is going to be the Windows Forms app.net framework. Next. And this is going to be called first iteration BMI GUI. Okay, so I now have those written. My console, not written, but I've created, I should say. I've got my BMI console and my BMI GUI. And that's where I'm going to pick it up on the next video. So I'll see you soon.